4, 3, 2, 1. This is Jane Hoffman with Political Gravity. I have one host, John Yoder, on the line, and I'm expecting more callers, hopefully. Tonight's topic is what's going to happen with the ceasefire in Lebanon. There's differing reports on what's going on in the Middle East, and I'm going to name some of the highlights of this last week in politics. So far in Lebanon alone, over 2,200 people have died in the last 3 or 4 weeks, and Israel blew up the only bridge on the Litani River connecting South Lebanon to Northern Lebanon. And 10% of Israelis are now controlling the land of Lebanon, which now compiles of 1/3 Christian, 1/3 Sunni, and 1/3 Shiite. 1.2 million people are displaced in Lebanon, and many residents don't think a 10-day ceasefire is going to be enough. The Al Jazeera network, which is out of the Qatari government sponsorship, has reported some things. The Iranian Republican Guard, Revolutionary Guard, has now taken control and reclosed the Strait of Hormuz, and they shot at 2 Indian vessels. Now, just 24 hours ago, that was not the case. Iran had not reshut that down. But now, in the last 12 hours or so, they have. Also in the United States news, Thomas Massie, a senator, I think he's a Republican, voted against the War Powers resolution. And today, or the day before yesterday, Democrat Jared Golden voted with the Republicans to not have the War Powers resolution go through. And the vote was 214 to 213, which means one vote decided whether Trump could have full control of military exercises in Iran, and the Trump administration won by one vote. Also, the successive leadership in the Iran, I only have one more fact to mention. The guy who took over for his dad or brother, I can't remember what he was, he's combining his efforts with the head of the Supreme National Secretary Council in Iran to make decisions. It's not the cleric alone that decides that. Right now, it's a 2-piece system. And the Revolutionary Guard, when they did first start the war, it was individual commanders making decision. It wasn't a government-sponsored combined effort. It was individual commanders in the IRG that was attacking those other bases around the Middle East. And it wasn't a concerted effort. It was an individual effort. So, John, do you have any comments based on what I just said?
It sounds like the blockade's going to keep going on.
Well, it's like the U.S. is, like Bill Maher said, the U.S. wanted a blockade, but only if they were in charge. And now Iran's attempting to take back over that blockade with their ships and whatever military sponsorship they have. And it seems to me that in all the articles I read, that Iran only wants certain countries to pass through. They don't want, and then the United States is threatening more powerful destruction if Iran doesn't give in. So what do you think is going on?
Well, this has been going on for a while. Certainly, Iran wants to hold on to their nuclear uranium. I guess it's 60% enriched, and when you get to 80, about 90%, you can use it to launch nuclear weapons. If you're just using it for good, innocent things like just powering energy sources, then you need about 10 to 20%. Once you go over 20, you have one intention, that's to be nuclear with military. So what would you do you recommend that we just let them continue with their 60% enriched?
From what I read, our military has disabled quite a few things within their military, including 90% of their naval shipping capacity. So I don't think their primary goal at this point is not to protect that uranium induced situation. I think their primary goal now is just to have a fighting chance at defending their nation. But
right, well, the Trump objectives were to, within about 6 weeks, shut down their ability to be a force of military and to shut down their nuclear capability. In other words, if they hadn't taken care of their Navy, the Air Force, and all that stuff, if we tried to block that area, they could have launched strikes. They could have sent boats or landmines or planes. So the idea was just to neuter them, and then from there we can control their finances, control the oil going in and out, and just choke them. All they have to do is say, you know what, we're going to disarm our program. You can come in, pull out the uranium. We don't need 60% stuff because we're not going to build a nuke, and they don't want to do it. So that's kind of where it's like a standoff. I mean, I guess you could leave them with that, like they've been doing business in the last 47 years. Just let them do what they want, or you can, what other way?
From what I heard, that first of all, they have been harbored in by economic sanctions over the years, and furthermore, when I hear anyone talking, whether it's the BBC, the Al Jazeera, or mainstream United States news, not that many people are talking. Not that many people are talking about uranium. Hold on, Don's calling in. Hi, Don. I'm going to merge you with the call. Hi, Don. Okay, Don's on the air. Can you say hi to Don, John?
Hey, what's up, my brother from another country?
Don Gallimore, do you have a pulse?
I'm at my grandson's basketball game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
let me call you back in about half an hour.
I don't think we're going to be on the air by then because John has to go do his ministry.
Oh, okay. So what are you guys doing right now? Go ahead.
Well, just answer one question and then you can go. So, John, Iran just took back the Strait of Hormuz. They shot at an Indian carrier, in which actually India was one of their allies last week. And my question, John thinks that Iran is trying to possess 60% of its uranium still. And I don't think it's Iran's motive to repossess the waterways for the uranium. I think they just want to assert their power.
Well, I mean, it's all of the above. The main thing is that Iran wants to make sure that it has a uranium supply to be a superpower in the Middle East. So that's the conundrum that we're looking at. The straits are going to be the main target, if you will, for the Iranians to keep power. But this is a spiritual war. Your president does not know what he has gotten into, because this is now a religious jihad, more or less, war. And it's not even a war because the war power gap has not been submitted or accepted.
It was rejected by one vote.
It was what?
The War Powers Resolution was rejected by one vote.
Right, Tillis and Susan.
No, it was a guy named, the guy who voted with the Republican was Jared Golden, and he's a Democrat.
Okay, well, it was rejected, and we're looking at the fact. Damn it.
All right, call back later. You're too noisy.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah, hang up and call back.
I did answer your question, I believe, mostly, right?
Yeah, John and I will debate that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The bad boy's gonna leave now.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, bottom line is that we're in a situation that we can't get out of for a long time, and we've lost 13 people, 300 plus have been hurt, and we're still talking about putting in ground troops. So this is going to be a disaster that somebody's going to have to clean up in the next few years. All right?
Well, a follow-up to that, do you think Iran would ever go away anyway? I mean, they're building up their nuclear defense program or their assault weapon program. So do you think that was ever going to stop?
Your president is going to, in his package, have in there that they can keep their uranium. That's all a part of the deal.
Right, but not the 60. But here's the question: someone says, "I'm gonna kill you," and they're getting a gun out, they're loading it, they're getting everything all ready. Do you stop them and being afraid that they'll get upset, or do you just let them, load up, get their sight on, set their sniper position, lock you in, and shoot? I mean, what's the best strategy with that?
The stupid thing is to go willy-nilly into a place that you don't know and just shoot up the place. And that's the situation. Is that
we've been doing it we've been doing this for 47 years. Do you think this is enough? 48. So
we've never attacked Iran directly. We supplied Iraq weapons to the Iraqis during the 1980 to 88 war.
Right. So as a military defense strategy, you would recommend you to let your enemy load up and take on Israel and Europe, and with launching nuclear weapons that could go into Europe?
They're dreaming. Our defense weapon systems are so superior that none of those would even leave Iran. Okay, that's the thing. Our power is so great that there's no way that we would be able to allow to get out of a silo very far.
So they've launched missiles into Tel Aviv. We have military bases in Saudi Arabia and all over there. They're well within reach, and some things have gotten through. So you don't think if they send a nuke overhead and we blow it up, that uranium's just going to land casually back into Iran?
I don't think they have the capability anymore.
Yeah,
we took out all those reactors.
Their launching systems are destroyed also. Most of the launching systems, so they can't do it.
Right, because that's what Trump did. But before he did that, they had launch capabilities. So again, your strategy is to let them continue another 5 years, get launch capability, and what they're doing to the Strait of Hormuz, they would just do at a nuclear scale. Right? Is that not how it looks, or no?
Don, can you take yourself off speaker?
Okay. Well, what I'm going to do? Okay.
So in other words, they get nuclear. Say in a few years they get nuclear capability. You think they're just going to be very peaceful about it?
Man, ain't nobody scared. That's the whole point. That's the point of our. He doesn't want to be scared. That's why he did it, and he did it. This is not, everybody, this is the point. The point is, Iran threatened his life at least twice in his first term, and this is 100% retribution. It has nothing to do with power or wanting to show the world that it's powerful. That is a state to be dealt with. This is about retribution of a man who had his life threatened, and he wants to take them out. And he's got into a situation that he can't get out of anytime soon, no matter what happens. There are other states, Israel and Iraq and Lebanon, that are intrinsically going to be involved in this for a long time.
Right. Well, Israel, so basically we should just let Israel fend for themselves after the last time they got assaulted on, October 6th? Just let them take care of it?
But that was Hezbollah out of Lebanon. That wasn't out of Iran.
Right. So Hezbollah doesn't get any funding from that. They're all on their own.
But what the hell? We're supposed to be taking care of ourselves. That was his campaign promise.
So forget it. So Israel's off the map. Don't worry about that, right? It's just 15 million Jews and 1 billion Muslims who believe in their destruction, but that's good with you?
No, it doesn't have to be that way. There are other ways of monitoring diplomacy, and that doesn't have to be where the Muslims are trying to take out the Christians or the Jews. They've been living together for thousands of years. What the hell do we know about their relationship? They live together.
Right. So the Arab countries have been living for thousands of years with nuclear capability.
Oh God.
And they've had
Well,
restraint.
Pakistan has it, and so does India.
Right.
So let's add Iran, right?
That's not what we're saying. We're just saying that who has Don, you're gonna have to call back. It's too noisy.
Okay, I'll call back.
Yeah.
No problem. I think I made my point. It's if people are scared, so be it. That's all a part of human nature. There are some people
just
who
wait.
fear nothing.
Right.
If you walk with God, you fear nothing.
But just before you go, just the strategy that I've heard is that China gets very much of their oil they were getting from Venezuela and through Iran and to the Strait of Hormuz. So what Trump did is he shut off their money sources. So they can't get, these terrorist groups can't get their money, and
Right.
China can't get their oil. So we control it, and then we say, okay, you want, like he's meeting G next month. Some people say that's genius. Like he controls all the oil, and if they want to buy it, they have to buy it from us. So would you admit that on a military strategy, he's got the trump card?
That's excellent. If there's nothing like it, when you can control, this whole game of life is about who can control how much.
Right. So to me, it seems some people think that we're better off with a president that controls the whole board versus someone who has no control.
I have a question.
And that's the side you can look at.
Can I talk?
Go ahead.
It's your show, yeah.
Don, put yourself on mute so you don't overpower my noise. Here's the deal. The first thing is when the U.S. attacked Iran with Israel, they wanted to damage their nuclear capability. And John's right. They do have enriched uranium up to 60%, a level close to a 90% threshold required for weapons grade material. So anyways, they do have some capability, but what I'm trying to say is not only did they invade Iran and kill a number of people, over 3,000 so far, they're stepping on sovereignty rights on their waterways that's divided between Iraq and Iran, and also commercial business operations in Qatar, United Arab Emirates, and other places like that. So it's not only hurting Iran, it's hurting the flow of the region. And I don't know if Trump's pinpointed objective did he realize that he was stepping on national sovereignty in those areas? to accomplish his particular mission.
You're funny, Jay. You're a comedian. That guy doesn't give us beat about beat.
Well, I know he said he was going to blow up their civilization, which is a bad PR move. But what's going on? I mean, this can't be flip-flopping every week, and eventually there's going to be a bigger consequence. And we've sent over 6,000 more troops, more ships, more airplanes. And what is it going to turn into? John, are you on the air still?
Yeah, but we're talking about war, Jay. It's going to turn into war. And he wants it because that's the way he's going to stay in power. If he needs emergency power act, war powers act, he's going to be able to stay in as a president. So he wants to be able to do that.
It's all over after the midterm elections.
Yeah, but that's because he's going to lose every damn office that are being contested, and he is going to be able to stay in power only if he has a war going on that he has to be the commander in chief of, and he'll be able to suspend election.
Well, Iran has an internal problem too of upheaval within their loyalty, so they have to deal with the civilian population too. But
right, half of the Iranians like them. Half of the Iranians are for that emancipation.
I just think that I'm very disturbed that one Republican voted to do it with the Democrats and the other Democrat voted with the Republicans. Like, did he get paid off? Don, are you on speaker? Put yourself on non-speaker.
Yeah, no, the answer is yes. I just wanted to answer yes. He probably got paid off.
Well, John, are you still on the air?
Oh yeah, I'm enjoying the show actually.
Okay, I was going to read one other thing to you guys. Hold on a minute, okay? As early as 2026, Iran possessed significant uranium enrichment capabilities, producing 60% enriched uranium and maintaining a large stockpile. In fact, they have the biggest stockpile of all the Middle Eastern countries. Despite 2025-2026 airstrikes targeting facilities, Iran holds advanced centrifuges and maintains a breakout capability, potentially able to produce weapons-grade material within days. And then it says that its ballistic system can reach parts of Europe. It can go over 2,000. Hold on a minute. Up to 2,000 kilometers away, reaching most of the Middle East and parts of Europe. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this whole thing?
I kind of like the fact that they're not able to do any of those things now. And some people like the fact that they can continue on that, or should have been able to have the freedom to continue total destruction and Armageddon. Some people are comfortable with that.
Well, I looked up one Bible prophecy on YouTube, and all these Christians were writing underneath, "I can't wait, the end is near, the battle's coming, here we go, let's do it." Like they were cheering on a big war.
Well, as I said, 40% of the world of the Iran and the American population are for it. So there's, we're talking about.
I think 39% are.
If you're being accurate, as Donald Trump said, I want to end the world, or as he said, I want a peaceful world. I want to work together. We want them to be a peaceful country, and we can work together. And please, like, this is what we expect. Is that not what he stated?
Well, he said a number of things, but one thing that he did say is that I've stopped 9 wars in the last year, which isn't true. And Bill Maher said, wow, is the 10th one, does he get a freebie for the 10th one? Like, he started wars that he claimed that he already stopped, and the Russians are still bombing the crap out of Kiev. So I don't see it.
Trump was responsible for the Russian-Ukraine thing, and
no, he's not responsible for that war, but he didn't stop it, and he started a war in Iran based on Israel's proclamation.
Yeah, he took out the Ayatollah, and he also took out Maduro. But we're not boots on the ground. I mean, basically, we're not in a 20-year war or 10-year war like Afghanistan or other countries, Iraq. So, do you think he's as bad as those other wars?
No, I don't. But I also think that the inflammatory stuff he puts on Truth Social at night is over the top, like posing in the robes of Jesus and then claiming he was a Red Cross worker.
So he should be removed as president because he does mean memes.
I think it's distasteful. It's disrespectful.
So he won the election twice. Stupid people.
Well, let's see who's gonna win the battle between him and the Pope.
We set an all-time record high stock market. So is that the indication of a stupid guy? He totally destroyed a country that wants to kill everyone on the planet that doesn't submit to Allah. And he's totally, in 40 days, he's totally neutered them. Like without losing, we lost 13 soldiers? So you're telling me
no,
that
we lost 3.
Stupid?
We lost 300 because.
Is that a stupid person?
He's stupid.
I think
he's brilliant.
The world thinks he's reckless.
He has gout. He can't even serve in the military.
He's not a mastermind. He's a reckless person.
So if he was in the Middle East, we would have lost a lot of people, and they would have bombed us. Oh, I'm just going to grab.
No,
grab one thing.
That's not how it works.
Why is he involved in such risky behavior? You can't just hop over to a country and take over. Hello.
Well, I guess he's not. Is he running their country?
Well, why don't we shift gears right now to Lebanon? That they're a crunched up nation. They took in 1 million Syrian refugees a few years ago. And I guess there's a few pockets of Hezbollah, but why does over 2,000 people have to die in Lebanon because of maybe 5 Hezbollah? Why is Israel content with wiping those people out?
Well, I guess the question is if Hezbollah runs Lebanon and they're at their border and they can launch missiles at them or, run across the border and kill Jews, I guess, is that cool?
Throughout this whole process, by the way, we've lost 300 Americans in the Iran war. It was misrepresented by Pete Hegseth, but only 38 Jews have died since this started February 28th, which is a lot, but nobody really has to die if you follow the Pope.
You mean the Vatican that doesn't have a history of starting holy wars?
Peace on earth, goodwill to men. By the way, the Pope visited the 3rd largest mosque in the world this week in Africa. John, why don't we do some comic relief and you tell Don about your vehicle that got broken into?
Cameroon.
Yeah, he was in 4 countries. John's car got broken into, and the criminal fell asleep in John's car.
Yeah, he only spoke Spanish. I'm sure that he's a U.S. citizen because he didn't have any ID and he spoke Spanish. But he broke into my car without. I'll give him this: he didn't break the window or the ignition or the locks. But he forgot one detail. He fell asleep in the front seat. So it kind of made it easier for the police to arrest him.
And the police asked John, do you want to knock on the window and wake him up? And John said, no, I don't want to do that. Could you please do it?
It was the 911, right? Operator says, have you tried knocking on the window? I said, well, he's doing a Grand Theft Auto. And he's passed out, so he has 2 choices: to run away, which means he'll get away and he can come back with his buddies and, take my car to Mexico and strip it. Or the other thing is he'll attack me, or who knows if he's got a weapon. So I said, I think it's the police job to arrest people that are, breaking the law. And so the police show up, and then after they were more sympathetic to me, but then after they did all their crime scene situation, they asked me, do you want to press charges? I said, yeah, I think I do. Because this guy would just get away and he can go do it again. Rip, some more people off. So I said, yeah, I want to press charges. You bet.
And why did he fall asleep, do you think?
Well, it might have something to do with this little crack pipe he had in the front seat with some of his other tools. He had an X-ray ignition, so he's probably going to switch out the ignition and start it with his own key, and then it'd be his own little personal car.
Don, what do you think of that story?
John did the right thing. Just leave it to the police, and whatever happens, happens.
But would the Pope approve of that, or would he say I should turn the other cheek, and if he wants my car, I should give him my shirt?
No, because it's wrong to steal. It's one of the commandments. So each person has to pay their dues for their sins.
Is it wrong to kill Jews and blow up their country?
Yes.
And that's why, yeah, it's not.
Okay, I thought they changed the law.
But I don't think Netanyahu...
You could kill Jews and blow up Israel.
Do you guys know how old Netanyahu is? And if someone else got in there besides Netanyahu, would they be as vicious to their neighbors? Do you guys?
Probably not. Probably not. They'd have a nicer person, and then they would be basically watching Iran continue doing what they do in Hezbollah, and they got the whole bunch of Muslim Brotherhood. You've got Al Qaeda, ISIS. They got Ilhan Omar, and they got Mamdani. Got a whole team.
By the way, Netanyahu is an Ashkenazi Jew born in Tel Aviv to Polish and Russian Lithuanian Jews.
Oh, wow.
I saw Netanyahu. I saw a video today. They were trying to say that he wasn't really a Jew, and that's a lie.
Oh man, who wasn't a Jew?
Some fake video people trying to make up shit about Netanyahu.
Well, Netanyahu, that sounds like a Spanish last name, doesn't it?
Almost, but Hitler was part Jewish, so it doesn't matter. If you
was Hitler? No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was. He had.
I'm gonna Google it.
Google it, and that's one of those things that stuck out with me. That when I heard that, I was flabbergasted.
Could you repeat that one? I missed it. What's not Netanyahu?
No.
He said Hitler had some Jewish. Rumors suggest Hitler had Jewish ancestry.
Yeah, I thought his aunt or someone was Jewish or something.
Yeah.
I think his German Shepherd was Jewish too.
Probably.
But they did a DNA test on some blood that was on one of his clothing, and they found no evidence of Jewish ancestries. He was exclusively Austrian German.
Some people are 100% sure that Hitler's living in Argentina with Charlie Kirk, and that and that the moon landing, the Artemis, I mean the trip around the moon was faked again.
People also think that Erica Kirk is Donald Trump's secret lover.
They say that J.D. Vance wants to marry her and have her baby.
Okay.
So what's the deal with J.D. Vance? Is he loyal to the Pope or the president?
He kind of played it in the middle. He said that religious leaders shouldn't be talking like politics and war stuff, basically.
The Pope fought back when he said, "I'm not scared of the Trump administration." Well, we can end the show now. John has to go perform, and Don has to be a grandpa.
Yeah, but bottom line is that he doesn't have an administration anymore because half of the people have been fired. Wow, we've only got a couple. Benson's new. All these guys are new, taking over some of the people.
The guy at my work thinks Kash Patel.
What?
Kash Patel is going to be the next to go, somebody said.
Whatever.
Well, he's famous.
Stupid goofball.
Well, he's famous for The Apprentice. What was his tagline in The Apprentice?
Kash Patel?
No, I mean, Trump's line was, "You're fired," right?
Yes.
Isn't that what he made his fame off of? You're fired.
Well, I don't think he should just go.
Yeah, he tells him right, told Caramani, "You're fired." He told
He had to go.
shit. He got rid of half of his cabinet, and half of these people are new.
Very replaceable.
I hope I didn't end my show. I didn't.
Because they're all
So it's getting kind of old looking. We need some younger blood.
they're all monkeys, and now they brought in, and that's why they're mimicking the bombers and monkeys.
Hey Jane, would Jane accept the cabinet position because he likes blondes?
No, he loves blondes.
No, I wouldn't.
Oh man.
Did you know that Trump posed with a DoorDash grandmother who delivered a McDonald's?
Yes.
That was dorky. So, Don, do you know anything about Jared Golden, who voted with the Republicans?
That's a no. That's a negative.
Okay. All right, we'll do our research and we'll be ready next week, okay?
You got it.
Okay,
So by just a quick question. So by the midterms, do you think gas prices will be down and we'll have the whole situation settled?
Yup.
No, because it's not about light crude that the United States produces. It's about diesel, and diesel is going to be scarce. So that means that all of our consumer goods are going to be through the roof. Fertilizer is already going through the roof. The Chinese are they're in financial turmoil. So they're getting scared, and so we're going to have two, scared superpowers running around trying to over tariff.
I know it's affected the American farmers so far. The American farmers are complaining that the gas prices is going to damage their industry.
Right, but the bottom line is that they're still going to go the way they go, so it's no big deal.
So Trump's luck has run out finally. There's no escape. No walls are closing in on him.
Well, the main thing is health.
Yeah.
Right now, he's just if you notice, and I've been, like I said, I worked on his account when I was at the LA Times, when he was, just when he had all his buildings and everything, and his account manager would leave, and I would on vacation, I'd take over his account. So I knew about a lot of this before anybody. And right now, he is floundering because he's got legal fees through the roof. The cryptocurrencies that he's supported and sponsored are starting to dwindle. And the stock market is growing, but that's because of insider trading, if you will. And it's a Ponzi scheme, and every day, every week, a certain segment of business takes a hit, and another segment grows, and it makes it look like that there's cyclical.
Yeah.
There's a cyclical situation, and not really. It's just whatever business can take a hit at this time is what it is. And the NASDAQ, there's no way it should be going through the roof because these companies are virtually profitless, and the only thing they're showing is future.
So record stock market can't save Trump.
Oh, hell no. Mainly because you've got the increase in consumer goods, and that offsets everything that's coming in. And so that's what the situation is.
Wow. Let's go down. Good. Back up. Interesting.
I was going to tell you guys one thing before we end the show. Jared Golden is from the 2nd District of Maine. He's only a congressman. He's a Democrat. He voted to protect Haitians till 2029 under protected status, but he's also a Marine Corps veteran, and he voted to add more funds to the Iranian war, like not limit funds to the Iranian war. Don, your lousy noise is ruining the show. The background noise is ruining the show. Hello?
You're on mute. But go ahead.
You're on mute.
Oh man.
No, you're not. John, are you outside?
No, I'm inside.
Okay, well, we're going to end the show, kids.
Okay.
Protect your vehicles. Good night. Good night.
God bless Jane Hall.
God bless you.
God bless the black man.
Bye, boy. Bye, boy.
Bye-bye.